Pros and comments on Facebook. How are you, buddy?
Say what?
No.
Nothing.
Really nice, and it's all.
Still on vacation?
Put that little bit of.
You see the fire really? The fifth alarm box. Yeah. Fire departments from Elroy, Caribou, Kaz, Reedsburg, Elroy.
Yeah, the women are doing it right now.
In the yard itself? In the pine?
Building, and I think it's worked this way.
That was over by Morse that put out some of those ones.
And it feels like you're flying.
Don't want to get extra people.
Well, one day it broke its back.
It's the same lease as it was last time.
I know.
Is that the one where some guy pulled out or something?
We'll call the meeting to order. Jake, are you ready? Yes. Town of Mean, Chief. Go ahead, Jake.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here, Friends,
Here.
Peterson, Knudsen,
Here.
Stevenson.
Here.
Here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The council will receive information on non-agenda topics brought before the council by members of the public. The council will not discuss these topics and will not take action on any of them at this meeting. Is there anyone who's in the audience wishing to be heard this evening? We'll go to consent agenda. One motion approves all consent items. Item 1, approve minutes for the meeting held on July 11th, 2022. Number 2, approve or deny application for temporary Class B retailer's license for Distinctly Downtown Reedsburg for Reedsburg Wine Walk and Block Party on August 5th, 2022, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And number 3, approve or deny renewal alcohol beverage license change of agent, Quick Trip number 838 at 1825 East Main Street. Any questions on the consent, or I'll take a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Kaney,
Second.
seconded by Braunschweig. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I was waiting for Missy. Missy, I'm definitely waiting for you to hear your vote.
Aye.
That's all right. I've learned my lesson from the past. All right, general business. Item 1 is approve and deny, review and approve plan and open public hearing to take input from residents on the proposed renovation of the former South School Gymnasium into a community center with a partial grant funding from the USDA. Tim.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. So this project, as you know, was partially funded with a congressional earmark of $220,000. And that's being administered by the USDA. So one of their requirements is that we open up this project for any public comments. Just to refresh your recollection of the project, it involves a fairly substantial HVAC renovation or repair. That is already done. We had permission from the USDA to do that early prior to the disbursement of funds. It needs a new floor, a new subfloor, and we need to have 2 ADA accessible bathrooms. I put a lot of stuff in the packet. I hope you guys had a chance to look at that. So the total estimated budget of this is $440,000 to get it done. So because of that, USDA has granted us $220,000 once we get past this step. This is the last step that they have before they can approve the project. So hopefully this will pass, and then I can send the paperwork tonight and get an approval sometime this week. So with that, I can take any questions before we go to public hearing.
Any questions for Tim?
Is there any planning on any charging for, once we get the gymnasium done and everything? Will there be any charges or say for basketball or volleyball or anything?
So initially, we haven't thought about charging that. We wanted to keep it open, kind of like a park, but with, a keypad access or something like that. So there wouldn't be any charging. I think we've had a lot of interest from like early morning basketball, some pickleball, I think, and then Boys and Girls Club. Would also like an opportunity to go over there and use that for maybe 2 or 3 hours a night during the week when they have all their kids there. They're a little short on room over there, so they can remove a third of their kids and send them to a recreational facility for a while, and then bring them back and rotate the kids too. That would help them out a lot as well.
Very good.
Any other questions for Tim? I'll now open up for a public hearing. Is there anyone who has any thoughts or would like to speak on the proposed renovation of the former South School Gymnasium? Anyone wishing to speak in regards to the proposed renovation of the former South School Gymnasium? Last call, anyone wishing to speak about the proposed renovation of the former South School Gymnasium? I will now close the public hearing, take it back to the council. Discussion, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion, we approve.
Motion by Gargano, seconded by Fry. Anything further? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. She just got me, see?
Gonna wait.
Just got me. All right. Number 2 was approved and I second reading and public hearing for ordinance 1943-22, rezoning parcels 024-0823-30000 and 042-8323-31000 in the town of Winfield to residential 2. Residential, these parcels are located in extraterritorial zoning area. Brian, how you doing tonight?
Good, thank you, Mayor. So this is are 2 tax parcels that were intended to be apartments about 20 years ago and never materialized. So the town has now requested that they be rezoned to R2 residential, which is 1 or 2 family instead of multifamily. So they recommend approval, and the Plan Commission also reviewed it and recommended approval.
Any questions for Brian before we take public hearing? Thanks, Brian. I will now take public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak for or against the adoption of ordinance 1943-22? Anyone wishing to speak for or against the adoption of ordinance 1943-22? Final call. Anyone wishing to speak for or against the adoption of ordinance 1943-22? Hearing no one, I'll close public hearing, take it back to council. Discussion, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion by Schulte.
Second.
Seconded by Braunschweig. Anything further before we take roll call? Jake, whenever you're ready.
Fry,
Aye.
Roderick,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Gargano,
Aye.
Kane,
Aye.
Friends,
Aye.
Knutson,
Aye.
Stevens.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks, Brian. Number 3 is approved and I authorizing the mayor and city clerk to sign a renewal lease with the Boys and Girls Club of Reedsburg for 300 Vine Street. Tim.
Okay, thank you, Mary. This is the former hardware store location that is owned by the city, and then I guess the landlord is actually the CDA. This is the same lease that we signed approximately 5 years ago. It is expired, and they were hoping to re-sign for another 5 years. We do not charge them rent. What we do is we provide 25% of their utilities. They're responsible for 75% of their utilities, which comes out to about, they pay about $10,000 a year. We pay just over 2,500-ish, right around that area, depending on the year. Like I said, nothing else has really changed with the lease. I guess I'll take questions about it. I think I should tell you that I am actually on the board for Boys and Girls Club, and so is Adam. So I'll try to answer his questions as best I can.
Questions, comments? Dave.
I want to preface this that I'm not opposed to the mayor or the clerk entering into an agreement with the Boys and Girls Club. I live in the neighborhood. I see the benefit of the club. Um, As you all know, I am a commercial landlord and this lease makes me nervous. It's a terrible lease. I don't know who wrote it, but it's a terrible lease. And putting that aside, I believe that there should be some things done to the changes to the lease for the protection of both parties included. Especially when it comes to certain areas, for instance, maintenance, where we have ambiguous statements in the lease that lead to negotiations after something happens. Well, section 704 of the state statutes pretty much say that we as the landlord or the CDA is responsible for certain things, period. And the lease makes that ambiguous. So that part I would really like to see reviewed. In regards to the utilities, section 5, when we agreed to the original lease 5 years ago, the reason that we were agreeable, I believe, to pay the 25% of the utilities was to guarantee that they would have funds enough to operate and so on and so forth. They've operated for 5 years. I believe that they should be responsible for the utilities in totality. That we should not, that shouldn't be a subsidy that the city is further giving. I mean, for simplicity reasons, I'm going to use a 50 cent per square foot value on the property, which would mean that we're already giving them in grace or in lieu of probably a $5,000 credit a month in not charging them rent, which is a $300,000 gift over the next 5 years. I'm not opposed to that. We own it. It's not costing us anything, but it shouldn't cost the taxpayers anything either. And the utilities at 100% wouldn't. So, as I said, prefacing it, I don't have a problem with the mayor being authorized to sign the lease, but I personally would like to see a review of the lease, and specifically some legal language in it. And I spoke with the attorney ahead of time, and he said he didn't write it. He has reviewed it. And I believe I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I believe that there are sections that you question as well.
I just have my notes.
Yeah, so I don't know that is there any urgency to an agreement being in place, Jim?
It's currently expired
It's expired
and they're under audit right now.
and they're under audit, so they
And we
need
will
some.
be shortly.
I guess my suggestion or my thoughts are that we do authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into an agreement with the Boys and Girls Club, but not before we have a chance to have our legal counsel review the lease.
In terms of the utility reference, I don't see that so much as a legal issue as opposed to
Nor do I.
75, 100. My notes don't reflect major changes, and so I can certainly address whatever concerns you have.
Well, I can give you a couple of examples and not that I stopped at section 7. I have a page worth of notes. That's not that I want to see the lease read like my lease. That's not the point. But for instance, in one section, we talk about it's the former hardware store and that it needs major renovations. Well, that's been done. That's pertinent to the previous lease. That's not pertinent to today's lease. as simple as number one in the description of the property. It's, and I'm gonna pull it up here so that I'm just not. We talk about the leased premises, and the leased premises is the former retail hardware store. And it, yes, it is low noted as it's 300 Vine Street in the agreement, but the leased premises is that. It's not the former hardware store. It's that property. Having been a party to court cases, not that I foresee anything to be in court, but when the judge looks at that agreement, they look at it as its entirety, as it is the entirety. They look at who has the advantage and who has the disadvantage. In this case, we should, as the landlord, should have the property right advantage, but we're not charging any rent. We're not charging any maintenance. We're not. And so if something damages the property, and although it's alluded to in the lease, it's not spelled out who is responsible for what. It says it'll be negotiated upon that happening, and that's ambiguous, and a judge hates that because it makes them, puts them in a rough justice situation where they have to weigh. And that is what a lease is supposed to do, is stop litigious activity, and this doesn't protect either party, in my opinion, without some cleaning up.
Tim, have there been any issues in the last 5 years of this lease?
No.
As written?
There's not.
You know,
And their financial situation, I think, if you can, is relatively the same as it was when they started the club. Probably a little worse now, based on the current economic situation and the desire of people to either give or not give. As an example of what it takes to run the club, they charge a membership due nationwide of $24 a year. Well, it takes approximately $750 to $780 a year to have a kid go through there. So their financial situation isn't great.
That it's a great asset to the community, and I think anything we can do to help them move forward is a good thing. But like Tim said, I'm also on the board, so I'm recusing myself from the vote, and I'm just putting my 2 cents out there.
That's why, I prefaced it, I'm not against this. I'm not against giving them the use of the property. And we're already subsidizing in other areas. I just believe that, I personally believe that they should be responsible for their usage.
I guess an example of that type of deal is with the Racka building for hockey. They don't pay for all of their utilities either. Just another example, it's out there. It's not like it's a single out. I'm gonna fall back to what I just heard too. I don't wanna see them go into financial hardship over, what was it, $2,500 you said?
$2,500 is a big deal for them.
Right.
It just is. Maybe it shouldn't be, but it is.
As far as cleaning up the, lease that can be done, I mean, that could be you approve the lease contingent on, as you were starting to say, there.
I have no problem with what's proposed, is you and the clerk entering into an agreement. I would really feel more comfortable if we could have legal review of the lease before then, though. And if you'd like that in the form of a motion, Your Honor, I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Do we have any more discussion before do you want to have a motion in second first? You want to make a motion? Go ahead, Dave.
I just guess my question would be, is it better to like renew this to the first of the year and review it and then go to for a 5-year, or you want it, the motion to be, and then under review?
However you guys want to do it.
I guess I'm just asking what's the better course. I mean, we could renew it to get them through the next, to the first of the year and give time to.
I think they would be concerned with a short lease like that.
The first,
They're distrusting, but they would be just concerned about.
I'm thinking that thanks to Jim, kind of helped me with some definitional phrases. Postpone, if you were to do so, until the next meeting. And I can just show the changes that are being considered. You're a holdover tenant, so it's month to month as it happens. And so there's this existing lease as to what they already signed. So they're really kind of just going month to month until a new one is created. So I think you'd be okay.
If I may interject too, in the lease that on which is binding at this point, the holdover, there is an agreement in there at which it can be extended by an agreement. It should be as simple as an agreement between the parties that it's extended until it's worked out. And that would satisfy us as a legal carryover.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. What does everybody else think?
I don't want to see any changes to the financial arrangements. You know, if there's some wordage in there, Derek, that we need to tweak, that's fine, but I don't want to see anything changed regarding the utility or any of the financial agreements that we have. And, you know, that's a motion that I would support.
Is there a motion? Or further discussion?
Then I will make that motion that, you know, that authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to sign it based upon the council review at the next meeting of changes as suggested by legal.
Okay.
Without changing any of the financial arrangements that are already in place.
Motion by your council, everyone understand that motion?
Just clarification, just the utility charge, because covenants could change, it could reasonably create a financial responsibility by either party.
There's a lot of things that could happen, Dave. I'm just talking about, you know,
That utility charge.
utility charge.
I'll second that motion.
Motion in a second. Is there any further discussion or clarification on the motion? Could you repeat that? I think Jacob wants to. Not the exact word, but paraphrase.
Right, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to sign the lease once it is approved, with any suggestions by legal, which we will approve it at the next council meeting. But no changes to the utility financial arrangement.
Dave, that's what you think, okay.
Did Dave make a motion?
Did you make a motion already,
I
Dave?
offered a motion, Your Honor.
Did you say a motion or you just offered to make a motion?
I offered to make the motion.
Would you want him to recuse and make your motion, or are you good?
No, I'm good with Mike's.
Okay.
Yep, I'll second Mike's
Okay,
motion.
okay, perfect. Thank you, Tom. We're on the same page.
Mhm.
Thank you, Missy. Did all any of that make sense, Missy?
Oh, it made perfect sense to me.
Okay, perfect. All right, we have a motion and a second. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Just have an order that I abstained.
Yeah, and Adam abstained. All right, we will go to commission, committee, board, staff reports, Parks and Rec. Anyone besides Phil on Parks and Rec? Matt?
Quick review, we spoke about the property purchase that was brought up at the last meeting. I believe we left that with clearing up some issues that could possibly arise with Derek. So, and we talked about CIP and CEP, and we just talked about projects and updates on the department.
Do you want to update us on the splash pad?
Absolutely.
There you go.
If you haven't been by there, we're pretty much about 95% done. There's some electrical that still needs to be done this week, where the sheltered areas have to be run up through the pool. Landscaping, they're still working on some things with the boulder rocks, the dam part of it. But otherwise, we're pretty much 100% completion other than those things. And I'm waiting for a email from MSA and a commercial specialist to do some training on it, so my guys know how to winterize it and move forward with that. So hopefully that will happen next week, and hopefully we should be looking at a mid-August opening, so.
Very good.
Great.
Thank you, man. It's been exciting to watch that project carry on as I drive by every day for work. So actually got to watch one of the guys that was working on the structures. The one that has a bucket that fills up and it wobbles, and you don't know where it's going to dumped all over him. It was hot that day, so I'm sure he enjoyed it. One thing I do want to add with that though, with the splash pad, and I don't want to sound like I'm coming off like a jerk or anything, but parents with kids that are at the park, if your kids aren't being watched by you, please tell them to stay off of the apparatus at the splash pad climbing, and it's not a jungle gym. I've seen a few kids already that I've seen climbing all over the way up stuff that they shouldn't even be looking at up there. So it's a lot of expensive parts that I'm sure no parent, I wouldn't want to pay for. So just be mindful. Public Works.
Public Works, postponed. We will be meeting Wednesday night.
Utility Commission.
Utility met on the 18th. The voltage conversion project is completed. Our 4 kV system has been taken out of service. We also approved the emergency response plan to respond to a regional electrical grid emergency. This has been precipitated by the extreme high temperatures all over the country. So we have an emergency response plan in place. Fiber construction is progressing in Bear Creek, Excelsior, and Fairfield Townships. We continue to turn up new customers in the Bear Creek area. The most important thing that I want to share with everybody is we received results of our voluntary PFAS water sampling. This was not something that the utility was required to do, but we chose to do that. There were a total of 90 tests performed for 18 different contaminants. 89 of those tests came back with no detections. One test for an acid that I cannot pronounce came back with a result of 2.3 nanograms per liter. Now, I had to do a little research here, you know. A nanogram is 1/1,000,000th of a gram. A gram is 1/30th of an ounce. So 2.3 nanograms per liter, you're not going to see it floating in your water glass, I can guarantee you.
It's amazing they can actually detect that.
Yeah, and the maximum contaminant level of that particular acid is 40 nanograms per liter, so we are well below that. The bottom line is Reedsburg water is very, very safe.
Very good. That's good news for that too. Plan Commission, first, thanks Dave for filling in for me. Do you have anything from Plan Commission?
I forgot completely about it, Your Honor.
Maybe Brian can fill us in.
Yeah, please.
Comp plan?
Comp plan,
That's all
yeah.
I think.
Comp plan.
I was in by Zoom, but yeah.
Comp plan.
And that's moving along. What is the public hearing, Brian?
The Plan Commission will have one the meeting in September, and then council will make the final decision in the second meeting of September.
So it's definitely coming to a conclusion. A lot of hard work done in that. Again, thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Library Board.
Library board met. In general terms, the numbers are continuing to come up as far as people walking into the library, people checking out circulation. Everything is looking better and better. I have to be on my best behavior because Sue Ann is here tonight. So. And we did, you know, she proposed a lot of really outrageous projects for next year, but we approved them just the same. She kept telling us, well, you know, the library is starting to show its age a little bit. So, Sue Ann, so am I, but nobody's going to refurbish me. So, but we had a good meeting, and I'm sure that Tim will be looking at all those requests with a fine tooth comb.
Thank you very much. Zoning Board. Any other committee or commission or staff member with anything to report? Office of the Mayor, just want to touch to make sure everyone checks out downtown on Friday. It's our annual Ridiculous Day. The downtown, distinctly downtown, is definitely working hard to make that a great success again. It's from 9 to 4. Many vendors downtown to check out. Also on the east side, Pam and a bunch of the other neighbors over there, over the Viking Village area, will have the typical airplane ball drop. I have a lot of memories of that when I was a kid, thinking that was a real thing. But well, make sure you get your kids down there, it's always a good time. And then Saturday is the Party in the Park, the flea market. That's on Saturday from 9 to 3. If you haven't checked that out, last year was their first year, and second year. They had an outstanding flea market down there. The whole park was absolutely filled, abuzz with people and lots of vendors. So check that out to make that even bigger and better. And they got stuff for the kids, family activities, race cars will be there at 10. The Kaz German band's gonna be there from 9 to 11, a DJ from 11 to 3. All kinds of stuff to do. The library's got a story time at 2. So yeah, check that out. Lots of stuff to do this weekend. The weather's supposed to be beautiful, so. And thank you for everyone for the well wishes after the vacation we had. Yeah, it was a really good vacation. Thanks for filling in. Thanks for keeping me up to date with what was going on around here. Tom Stevenson, what's going on in your mind?
Well, it was really great this last week on Wednesday. The concert in the parks filled up, the last 2 weeks filled up City Park. It was really good. Then the Alexander Ball Tournament had everything filled up there. And so we probably will look forward to it this next weekend too. So let the people of Reedsburg get out there and celebrate and have a good time with all the baseball. Great going on.
Absolutely. I want to touch on that a little bit. A good thing you mentioned that, Tom. This weekend is the Ohio Valley Regional Baseball Tournament for Babe Ruth. It's something that's a pretty big honor for Reedsburg Little League, Reedsburg Babe Ruth to host. A lot of time and effort has been put into it. The city council, last year, you guys all stuck some money into the park there to upgrade everything to make it a top-notch park. It was top-notch, but even put more icing on the top of it. So a lot of people will be from out of town this weekend from anywhere. Ohio Valley Regional will have people from Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, Minnesota, Illinois. They'll all be here and staying here and spending money here. So we want to make sure we're going to open ours so we can host it next year again. So check it out. All those games are open to the public, and I know they love to have people there just to watch them cheer them on. There are 2 teams, I think, from Reedsburg. 1 team for sure from Reedsburg playing in this regional. So even cooler. Dave Knudsen.
Nothing tonight, thank you, Your Honor.
Misty Friends.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Adam Caney.
Nothing tonight.
Derek Horkin.
No, thank you.
Jake from City Hall.
Nothing tonight.
Tim Becker.
Another news.
Mike Ergown.
Nothing, thank you.
Jason Schulte.
Nothing tonight.
Nothing. Craig Braunschweig.
Nothing tonight.
Come on, Darren. Darren Fry.
Nothing,
You
sir.
got nothing? All right, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Stevenson, seconded by Fry. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Opposed? Didn't think so. Motion carries. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Missy. We'll see you later.
Back to your
Sounds good. Thank you.
How you coming along?
Thank you.
I'm cooking just fine. I have a cesarean planned for Thursday, so he's getting the eviction notice.
I bet Saturday is an interesting day for you.